Okay, I think we're all set. Over to you, Dean. You're all set, Dean.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, Sean. Good to see you. Alex. All right, so at 12:05, we'll call this meeting to order. Everyone has their package and their agenda in front of them. Item number 1 on our agenda is adoption of minutes. That was a fairly lengthy meeting that we had, a lot of information last meeting. Anyone have any questions or comments or corrections from our minutes from September? Okay, having none, may I have a mover for the adoption of minutes, please?
Also move, Harvey.
Okay, thank you, Harvey. And a seconder?
Jamie will second.
Okay, thanks, Jamie. And all in favor?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 2, declaration of pecuniary interest. Anyone have a declaration to make? No conflict of interest? None noted. Okay, moving to item number 3, the adoption of our agenda. Anyone have any additions or corrections that they see before we move that? No, may I ask for a mover for the adoption of agenda, please?
I'll move.
Sean, thank you. Seconder?
I can second. It's Jamie.
Okay, thank you, Jamie. And all in favor?
Yes.
Thank you, Harvey. Okay, we're right on to number 4, business arising. And this is where I'm going to defer to Virginia.
Okay, so for the Heritage Calendar, I'll let Jamie chime in as well, but at our previous meeting, we had discussed providing members of council with a copy of the calendar. So those are bundled up and ready to go out. We had enough copies at City Hall that we could distribute them. There's just a cover letter going in to kind of explain the project for the councillors, and they'll be sent out. We thought that possibly we might be able to distribute them at a council meeting. I think they're looking at some point maybe going back in person, but we're not sure what that date is. So I think it's best to be mailing them out so that we're not waiting too long. Jamie, did you have any updates on the sales or anything
No.
like that in?
Yeah, just a couple points. I want to go up to the Voyageur Lodge and collect their copies. I think they've only got 6 left, and I think they're closing for the season. So I hope to get up there Thursday or Friday to collect the money. But so Virginia, I have a question about, we don't have to talk about it during the meeting, but there is a question about how the money that has been collected will be reverted to the city. And I think there was some talk of going through the trading post at the Old Stone House.
Yes, that's correct. So I think it's probably easiest to have all of the sales go through the gift shop cost center. So I think that's what I had talked to Kathy about, Louise, so that they go through there. The Municipal Heritage Committee's budget also reside within the Historic Sites Board overall budget,
Right.
so it keeps it all contained because the Municipal Heritage Committee doesn't have a revenue line, but the
Right.
gift shop does. So it made the most sense just to track them, and then when they put it in as an item, then we can actually track the total number of sales as well, because they have an inventory process. So that's probably going to make the most sense moving forward.
So could that cost center be provided to the business manager at the library?
They would have to do they're not connected to our accounting per se, so they would just have to send it over. So it would just all go to the gift shop, and then they pull it through their account.
Yeah.
The sales come in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jamie. I think that we'll see maybe another surge in calendar sales, hopefully after this long weekend, Thanksgiving, with people coming home. We've actually sold a couple of calendars at the cafe in the last couple of days.
Oh,
But,
okay.
It's a great gift for anyone.
We should do another media blitz.
I was just going to suggest that, Jamie. I think that might be a good idea. We can maybe create a Facebook post and put it on the city's social media, and then the same with the Old Stone House. We can maybe get it out there that they're available for sale, just because people are starting to think about Christmas, believe it or not.
Yeah, and we are 1 month into the calendar, so we've only got 15 months left.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks. Item number 5.2, properties of interest.
So yeah, as far as an update on that, the request, part of what we've had to do now, instead of just having the address, is having the legal description. So we're having our legal department pull all the pins for each of the properties so that we have the proper legal description to include into each of those listings. There's been a circulation that's went out to the senior staff, and it will also go out to council. And then I'm hoping, and I wanted to talk to Jamie and Harvey, hopefully set up, and Sandra has set up a meeting to discuss the dates, but I'm looking at trying to do those in early November so that we can have all of the information sessions at that time, but wanted to check availability as we're moving into the fall and see what, hopefully some committee members would be able to attend the information sessions as well. So.
Okay,
Yeah, it should be good for me, as long as it's after about the 3rd of November.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. Early November is good for me, Virginia.
And I'm thinking of trying to do 2 different sessions, just so that if people can't attend one, they'll be able to attend the other. Those will likely be Zoom, but we may have the option now of possibly doing maybe one Zoom for people who may not be comfortable coming in, and possibly one in person. So trying to see how that would work. It'd be nice to be able to do one in person at least. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. And then, you know, selecting a venue where we would do it. Possibly we could do one at the Old Stone House if the Heritage Discovery Center is available, because it's a nice central location.
okay. Well, thank you. Moving along to item number 6, under new business, we have the 189 PIM window replacement.
Yes, so we do have Ron Cumbers. I had told him we'd probably be about quarter after by the time we got to his agenda item. So I'd imagine he would be jumping on to hopefully answer some questions if there are any from the committee. The package, so what I had done in the package was I tried to put the numbers beside the windows to match up to the actual window number in the quote, so you could see which windows went with which. I believe they're, from what I know when we've looked at them, they are vinyl windows existing. So they were replacing vinyl for vinyl. And when you look at it, you can kind of see that they've matched up the same configuration with the number of panes, and then the ones where they have clear. So you can kind of go back and forth and cross-reference those two there. He's not asking for a grant. He just needs approval from the committee to move forward with the installation of the windows. So this is not a grant application. It's just the committee's approval.
Yeah, I see nothing wrong with that at all. Did you want to prepare a resolution and have it ready, Virginia?
Yeah, there was no question?
Yes, sorry. Hi, it's Alex speaking. Maybe I missed this part. Do we need to, much like with Kensington Ave, do we need to check that they are meeting criteria of the heritage standards and municipal standards, or?
In the past, what we've done, Alex, is we asked the homeowners to replace like for like. So in this case, the windows are existing vinyl and they're matching up the same pane configuration as what is currently there.
Okay. And does anybody else like, in like Virginia saying, you always dot the I's, cross the T's very well. Does anybody else like have any input on that? That's pretty typical, I guess.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah,
Sometimes if they're wood, we ask them to replace with wood. We've done that on a number of heritage properties in the past. And but in this case, since they're already vinyl, then he's just replacing them with like.
Okay, thank you
There's
so
no
much,
grant
guys.
involved.
I see. Okay, so a little bit more details when there's grants involved. Okay.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, so just from a process standpoint, Alex, usually when there's any grants involved, there's a full grant application, and there's definitely an inspection that follows from the committee members to make sure the work was consistent with the application. This is a little bit more straightforward because we're not asking for the wood since it's currently the vinyl. I think Mr. Cumber has joined us. Ron, are you on the line?
I am. Hi, guys.
Hello, Ron. Welcome. It's Dean Greenwood, the chair of the committee. We were just discussing your window replacement, and basically it looks like you're following everything to a T. It's looks good.
Thank you.
So basically, I think that I don't know whether any committee members have any questions of you. I do want to say that Jamie and I did our property inspections a week or two ago, and that is a very nice group of condos on the corner there. It's a true heritage site.
Yeah, they're not condos. They're townhouses.
Oh, they're sorry. Yes, townhouses.
Right. Yeah.
And
I don't have any video. I just have audio for this meeting. Is that right?
that's fine. No, that's fine.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Cumber?
No, Ron, I just wanted to say I really love those townhouses. Thank you so much. That's great.
Okay.
Okay, if there isn't any other questions, I can read the resolution to the committee. So to be resolved that the Municipal Heritage Committee approve the installation of 8 windows on the 2nd and 3rd floor of 189 Tim Street as presented.
Okay, may I have a
Also
mover?
move.
Thank you, Harvey. A seconder?
I'll second. It's Alicia.
Thanks, Alicia. All in favor?
Yes.
And that's passed.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Cumber.
So can I tell the window company to proceed?
Yes, you can, Ron.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys.
You're all set. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Item 6.2 on our agenda, Heritage Award.
So this was just more of an update. So we did put out the press release. I've attached a Facebook post as part of the agenda, and previously sent out the Facebook post to committee members to share. So just encouraging everybody to get the word out so that, hopefully we get a number of applications to come in this year for the committee's consideration. The deadline is the end of this month, so this will be something that will be discussed at the November meeting. But just really hoping to get the word out. And committee members are also welcome to make nominations and complete the application and bring that forward for consideration as well.
Virginia, is this the year that we all need to renew our memberships, or that was done last year, eh?
That was done last year, so
Okay.
the membership, so it's 2-year term, so I'll be sending you guys reminders next October, early November to resubmit your applications at that time. But this would be
Thanks.
for, yeah, this is just a heritage ward. Yeah, so that was just a quick update.
Okay, do we have some heritage nominees in the wings kind of that we had looked at in past years, Virginia?
We have, I think we may have one that we can pull forward from before. The other, I haven't received any in yet, I don't think, unless something's come in this week that to the office at City Hall. So hopefully, but we're still relatively early, and we're going to do another post on our city's Facebook just as a reminder so that people don't lose sight of it.
Okay. Any questions from anyone? All right. Item number 7 on our agenda, correspondence.
Okay,
have-
so we did receive, so it wasn't a letter, but I was asked to bring forward, Betty Young had asked that the committee consider looking at putting a plaque on Alex Muir, which was the former school, which is now, I believe, apartments, just telling a little bit about the history of Alex Muir. So she wanted me to bring that forward for the committee's consideration. I believe she's also spoke to the property owner, and they would be in favor of having a plaque there. I haven't yet spoke to the property owner, but I believe she did have that conversation with them already.
So Virginia, I would assume.
How would that be paid for? Because we're probably looking at what, $1,000 if you're making it out of brass, I guess it is.
Yeah, if we were to do a bronze plaque, and depending on the amount of words that are on it, that definitely does change the price. The small plaques that we do for some benches, that we can get a small ones done starting at around the $200 mark, but they start to go up from there. It may be something that the property owner is also interested in assisting with, but we'd have to reach out to them to ask that. But I wanted to come to the committee first to see what their thoughts are, and then have somebody look at what that wording might be look like and what the plaque would look like, and then we can get a better idea on what that price point would be, depending on obviously how much text goes on it, right?
Right, and I guess Betty Young would be providing a lot of the research or information about Alex Muir.
Over the phone, she provided some background on Alex Muir. So, we'd probably look at making sure that it's been vetted through the Heritage Committee, and that, we obviously want to try to keep it relatively concise, that tells a bit of the story, and maybe a link to tell a little bit more where you find more research. I believe there is stuff on Wikipedia and that people could, do further research if they were interested. But I think her concern was, we had a number of buildings, and the committee did talk about this before, where you're starting to lose those names as schools and that are transitioned into different types of uses.
I believe, Virginia, that I may have given you a booklet on how and for whom all of the schools were named, and with some background on each.
I think I have that at City Hall, Harvey.
Yeah. That one might prove quite useful.
Okay. Yeah. That's.
The former principal at Batten wrote that up.
Yes,
Can't think of his name. He's passed away now.
Just to clear. Oh, sorry, folks.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So if this is something that the committee's, interested in looking at, I can ask Bradley to do a bit of a mock-up, and then we can kind of take it to the next meeting.
I
think it's a good idea. I think it would be great if it can be done in partnership with the owner.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to flag that myself and Alex have our hands up, but I just want to clarify. We're talking about a plaque specifically to or related to the person Alex Muir, that would more just sort of, I imagine it would acknowledge that it was a school, but the plaque is about the person. Is that correct?
Yeah, it would be just acknowledging, I think, the name of the school and then a little bit, that this was former Alex Muir Public School. The property I had explained to Betty was not on the list of properties that the committee had considered for the Heritage Register. But again, this may be something that, and I think she indicated the property owner would be interested potentially in paying for. So it would be more just, she wanted it to be brought forward as correspondence to the committee.
Hi, guys. I had a question.
Go ahead, Alex.
I'm just being mindful. Last week was Truth and Reconciliation Week. As you all know, we honored and celebrated and discussed some difficult conversations in school all last week at Cora Intermediate. Mike, I'm just trying to be cognizant again of the fact Alex Muir is like a former soldier. There's a couple of links posted in the chat for people to open. And I just want to make sure that we're honoring Alex Muir, the person looking into that past, like what kind of school headmaster was he? And if it was not kosher with Truth and Reconciliation, maybe we talk about that or consider that.
Yeah, I think that's a good comment, Alex. I think that the researcher with Virginia and Bradley looking into it, we can see some of those. I know when we're done here, I'm going to be checking, Googling Alex Muir and finding out information about him. Any other questions or comments? So I think, Virginia, it's something that we're interested in proceeding on, and we'll see where we end up.
Okay, and what I'll do is I'll follow up with Betty, just with regards to, because I had told her I'd bring it to this committee meeting. And then, as I mentioned, I believe she's already had some conversations with the property owner. So, a lot of that may reside with the property owner putting that up as well, right? Because, we do have, the committee does have a limited budget as well for plaques and those types of things.
Okay, thank you. With no other questions, item 7.2, the Buckingham House. I think Caleb has joined us. I believe that might be his phone number. I'm not sure though. Caleb, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Welcome to our meeting. And thank you for your request about the Buckingham House. It certainly is a piece of history in our buildings and heritage here. Virginia, where do you think we should go from here?
So the request is there for the committee. There is a number of pieces that, the building, as I'm not sure how much the committee knows, but was originally moved to the site of Mockingbird Hill Farm a number of years ago. So the request now, I believe, is to look at possibly looking at moving it again, Caleb?
Yeah.
And then
That's correct.
doing some renovation. So do you want to provide a little bit of more background for the committee on kind of the process, or did the committee have any questions that came out of the letter that was shared?
Virginia, currently the Buckingham House is listed in our heritage houses. Is it not right now, or is that no longer in effect?
It is a designated property.
Right. Okay.
I couldn't find a date on the house, which I love dates of buildings in our city. I found 1884, but that was rough.
The original building is believed to have been built in 1874. The first property records, I believe, where it's actually listed as being owned goes to 1885, as far as I understand.
So Caleb, I understand that you're interested in moving the house. This is something new to me. I haven't seen this happen. I mean, the house has been moved once, I guess, but you want to get it to a more secure location, I suppose.
Yeah, I know with heritage buildings, they don't typically move them, but I have my father here, Robert Courier, for Farmer Bob with me as well. But roughly the city wanted to build that Port of Algoma. That house was expropriated in the 70s. I'm not really sure what happened there. There's not a lot of details like in any documents I've seen, but that got delayed. The city rented it out. They decided to build Port of Algoma again. The tenants were either kicked out or they moved out on their own. And the city property division recommended that house for immediate demolition as it had been vacant for a period of time, which I'm not quite sure. I think it was about 6 months. And an architect, I believe his name was Perry Short, got a hold of my father about being able to save that building, in which case it was taken apart, dismantled, recorded, and then stored here in our field for quite some time until arranged funding could be found to put it back up on its feet again. So there is a historical precedent of that building being moved, as it was the building itself which was designated to be of historical importance and not the location that it was on.
Caleb, can you give us some indication of your thoughts on how the process you would use to relocate it? Are you talking about taking it apart, or are you going to have it jacked up and moved? Lock, stock, and barrel. What are your thoughts there?
Well, that house is currently sitting on a mud sill, and when it was put back up, my father had the foresight of someday that house would be moved again, as it currently rests on leased land that is owned by the Conservation Authority. So underneath that building is a series of tunnels in an H formation that allows for easy accessibility to jack that building up. I would put it on a float and have it moved about 100 meters closer to the yard or to Landslide Road, in which case we would go from there. I've reached out to Ron Han of Northern Comfort Log Homes, because the two bottom logs on the south wall, they're in terrible shape right now. Like, you could attack that with an ice pick and burrow your way right through without breaking a sweat. And he's assured me that you'd have to repair those logs first before you jacked it up and moved it. But once they were repaired, it would be pretty easy to move, as he's moved a few similar to it before in that manner.
Okay, in your vision, what requests might you be making financially to the committee in the future for this work?
Well, I would definitely be looking at some funding for the repairing of those logs.
Okay.
Ron figures roughly, 'cause, you know, you don't want to do anything unless you have permission, but he figured a starting point would be probably $3 to $4 grand for the log repair work would be a start. And then whatever available funding might be available to move it off that land on the Conservation Authority. And I might be looking for some money for the historical, I'm not sure exactly the correct. Reproduction windows and doors, so that building can stay within the theme of its time period of construction.
Are the windows requiring replacement now? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they are, and part of the problem, not all of the problem, age plays a significant part with that bottom sill log, but one of the windows is leaking, or is allowing water to come in where it's pooled on the log, and once you have water in logs like that, it just wicks through like a sponge and leads to rot.
So I think the next step might be to have something in writing in the form of an application to see if there can be funding to do the repair first of replacing those logs, I guess.
Yeah.
Caleb, I can forward you the designated property grant application.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions with what's required, we can take it from there.
All right. And I got one question for you guys. I can't seem to find any of the documents anymore in pertaining to that building, because I know at the time everything was on a time constraint. If you go back, it talks about how it had to Perry had to request an extra week to arrange to have that building torn down because the property committee had given them 6 months to find a new home for it, and it wasn't quite enough time. But I'm interested in who technically owns that building. Is it still the city's property, or did they bequeath that to Farmer Bob? Or is it because it's on leased land that it technically belongs to the Conservation Authority? We don't have any records with a definitive answer.
I could go through our records, Caleb, and find out. I'd have to, we do have a whole binder on it at City Hall, so I could go through that and find out for you.
All right.
Okay, while we have you, Caleb, sorry, it's Harvey. I have one more question. You're proposing adding an addition on. Is this going to be a modest addition, or is it going to dwarf the existing building?
Pardon me, you cut out there for a second. Can you repeat the question?
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're proposing an addition after you've moved the building. Can you describe this board and batten addition and how large it would be in comparison to the original building?
Well, that building currently, I believe, is, I have to get my calculator out, but I believe it's about 425 square feet. I would be looking at putting a first class, about 1,000 square foot addition on it, board and batten. That's typically, in my research, the type of additions that those square timber buildings were received as the farmers or whoever built them advanced their property, or had more money later on in life. Families expand from the original building, as they typically end up with a board and batten.
Okay, thank you. Dean, I think as committee members, maybe we should discuss the pros and cons of this on our own before any decision is made. Yeah.
Yes, I think you're right, Harvey. Perhaps we can have something organized by our November meeting.
Do you have a date set out for that November meeting already?
Yes, November 3rd.
Okay.
So Virginia, should we strike a subcommittee? Is that what you think, or is that necessary? I think if we just find out some of the answers as to the who really owns the building, or now that we know what the full intent is or whatever, to move it, I would suppose, to a more secure site, being moving it from the conservation leased land to private property, which would I suppose be more secure. But anyway, we'll have to discuss things.
Well, that building is also currently not resting upon a permanent foundation. It's sitting on a mud sill, which is basically plain logs sitting on the ground.
Right. Okay, anyone in the committee have any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I just, personally, I don't think that there's any issue in terms of the relocation, given it's already been relocated. The other issues I think might be up for discussion, but I wouldn't expect that the relocation itself should be a barrier, given the location's not. The location of the structure is not relevant to its heritage designation.
Right. Thank you,
Yes,
Sean.
I agree. And, but to be fair to Caleb, he should know what we're prepared to allow and not allow with his total plans for the future. So he shouldn't be expected to go to the expense of moving it and then be unable to do what he wants to do. So I think we need to discuss this, and we know what his plans are now, and I think we need to discuss this as a committee.
Well, my plan is mainly to secure the future of that building, as I don't believe it's going to last without some immediate attention.
Yeah, that's fine. But if you want it to be your permanent home and have plans for expanding it and so on, then that has to be discussed at the committee. So that's another matter. So. I don't want you to put a lot of money into it and then find out you can't do what you want to do. That's not fair.
Caleb, it's just Virginia here. So I think, the move's not an issue. The addition, I think, is trying to figure out for the committee how that would look while it maintains some of the original portions of the house. When you were thinking of that board and batten addition, were you looking at going towards the back so that the fronts and the sides are maintained, or were you looking at doing something different?
Well, that building originally had additions attached to it. There's a kitchen, a bathroom, a sewing room, but I would run an addition off the back of it, and then to secure, because currently right now it only has a covered porch on the front, I would like to wrap the rest of the building that does not have an addition attached to it in a porch to keep the water off those logs.
I think what may help as well is if I can find, and I'll go through the binders to see if there's original pictures of what those additions look like that were on there.
If you go to the City of Sault Ste. Marie under the Heritage Buildings, there's a file on there that has the original floor plan and some pictures of the building in the 70s.
Okay.
I didn't know we had that on there. I should know that.
It lists all the owners from 1885 all the way up to 1875. It doesn't mention the tenants that rented it, but there's a historical writing up or documents of that building.
It's probably the LACAC designation report.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
I have the designation. Oh, I guess that back piece was removed. Okay, yeah, I see.
When that building was moved, it was only the building itself that was ever designated of any historical importance. It had a stone fireplace in the middle of it. The wainscoting, the stairs, nothing mattered. They ripped that all out. The only thing that mattered was the shell. Not the roof, the rafters, or any of that has all been replaced.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Virginia, we'll have to discuss this, as Harvey says, as a committee, and just see what is possible. But we certainly support Caleb's concern with the future of the building.
And Dean, it may be, to your suggestion, it may be helpful to maybe make a working group with a couple members, and we can pull Peter Tenazzo in as well as maybe somebody from the building division, just so that we have their expertise, and take a look at it in between meetings so that we have additional information to bring the committee to the November meeting.
Okay. Having said that, Virginia, do we have any volunteers from our committee?
Hi, it's Jamie. I could volunteer, but I feel that I don't have a lot of expertise to contribute to this topic, but I'd be happy to sit in a working group.
I would be interested in volunteering, Dean.
Okay. Well, that's a good start. So we have Jamie
Okay.
and Alex. And then Virginia, you can sort of pull some information together and maybe send out one of your doodle polls and see what can work, keeping in mind that Alex is pretty busy during the day.
Yes, yeah. So I have a resolution, resolved that we appoint Jamie Van Haften and Alexander White to a working group to research the Buckingham House and the proposal to move and add an addition, or to move and add an addition to the Buckingham House.
Okay. May I ask for someone to move that resolution? I'll move it. And a seconder? Sean, thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
Thanks, Harvey. Okay, Caleb. We'll certainly keep you in the loop, and you've been very informative and telling us about what's available on our city website. We're all taking a look at that.
I didn't scroll far enough to report.
Okay, so there's no other questions or comments. Caleb, I thank you for joining our meeting and filling us in on your plans, and good luck with things. We'll keep you posted.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone have any other business or comments? We see our next meeting, as we mentioned, is Wednesday, November 3rd. I guess it's still going to be a Zoom meeting. Hopefully in the new year, we'll be getting to meet together in one room, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, item number 9 on our agenda, adjournment. May I have a mover to adjourn, please? Sean,
Also
and a
move.
seconder? Harvey?
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Just before we go too, I would be interested in sort of helping out with the Buckingham House thing, but I have a very busy schedule. I'll see how the future goes and how the more recent hires at the cafe happen. Maybe it'll free me up for some time, but I'll keep you posted. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thanks, Steve.